Hi, Embracing Only podcast family. This is Archita. We are introducing impact moments, actionable insights that highlight the best and powerful learning moments and wisdom from our past episodes of incredible guests. In this highlight reel, you'll hear leadership lessons from a combat veteran, taking action to be anti-racist, mastering workplace negotiations, leveraging your uniqueness for success. We'll take a topic and break it down in a short, snappy episode. So click on the link in the show notes to continue listening to these impact moments with our amazing guests. You did something really bold that I heard of, which was you once asked your supervisor for a 30% pay raise and you got it. So bless you on that, because you know your worth and you found a way to negotiate it. So sprinkle some advice and knowledge our way here of how can onlys go negotiate their own worth, even in their current jobs, and not only when they're going into the next stage or a next company or whatever that might be.
Yeah, so that was, I didn't realize I was being bold. I think I was young and inexperienced, but now I realize, okay, I'm so action oriented. In that case, I was grossly underpaid. I went and got data online of this is what this position at other companies make. I started interviewing at other companies. I printed all of that out. This was the time where printers were still cool. I'm old, but I printed all of that out and I walked into the CEO's office and I was like, this is what I would like to make. And if you can't meet me here, I will go elsewhere. And listen, you can make an ultimatum, but know that you can't play that card often. It happened to work at that time. I remember my parents, just funny that you talk about immigrant parents too, but my parents were like, what were you thinking? You didn't even have that other job. And I was like, yeah, but I could have gotten it. It was one of those times where I was like, oh, it's fine. But what I will say about raises and knowing your worth, something that I've learned as I've gotten more mature and maybe, it's not that I'm less bold, but I've realized how to play my cards a little bit better, is ask for what you want up front. Be courageous in having the uncomfortable conversation. Sometimes people are so scared of a rejection. What's worse than rejection? Not trying at all, first of all. And also sit with them. Let's assume it's a no, or let's assume that you're not sure what they're going to say. Like in my case, I want to be a CMO. So I'll sit with my direct supervisor and say, I want to be a CMO. What in your mind does that mean that I need to be like? What do I perform? At what level do I need to be performing? What do I need to deliver? And if I can do all of that, I want to make this much. And typically, if you have literally those things documented in that agreement with your direct supervisor, it seems to work. Yeah. It's also fun because in the past, I've seen where they'll say, oh, this will probably take 6 months to a year or 2 years or whatever. They'll put some time frame on it. Yeah. If you can do it faster, they don't have really anything to argue with. If you have a documented, this is what this person executes on, this is what they deliver to the company, this is their value. And then. Yes.
So that's an interesting point. So I've had a conversation about this with some folks here. We did a LinkedIn audio event, and usually when women are just getting into the middle management position, doing well, been praised, so excited to have her here, when they're just ready for that next step outside of middle management, some of the experiences that these women shared was they constantly hear, yes, you did this, but it would be really good if you also showed us this. Because it's just this one last thing that's missing. So for those women who are navigating those kinds of conversations, what would you recommend they consider with regards to that argument they have or the conversation they have? And also at what point do they decide that, okay, I have a choice to make here and not just keep trying to beat this like dead horse?
That's an excellent point. So I'll answer your second question first. I think if you're getting to the point where you feel like you're beating a dead horse, there is probably no argument that you need to have with this other person that is holding your promotion on the line. Your feet need to do the talking and you need to walk away.
Yes,
go where you're valued.
Your feet need to do the talking. Yes.
That's what I would say. If it's you haven't had this conversation before, you've only had it once or twice, make the person say more about that. So this is something that therapists do and coaches do. They'll say more about that. And then they'll sit there quietly. Let there be as pregnant as a pause if you need to be. Maybe you're sitting there for 4 minutes because that person is trying to formulate either what their response will be, what they're actually thinking about, how do they, and you have to learn more about what's motivating them to not give you that promotion. But again, if it's to the point where you're like, am I beating a dead horse? If you're asking yourself if you're beating a dead horse, you probably are. And you have to let your feet do the talking.
Yes, I really love that, what you said with regards to that pause. That's so powerful. We feel we need to hurry through getting to the answer in these situations because we're so desperate for validation again, right? Because we've done everything, we've shown up. Maybe we've done this a couple of times and they're in the middle of layoffs, blah, blah, blah. Let's talk in 6 months. And you're like, okay, you know what? Fair. Let's talk in 6 months. You go back in 6 months. And you're just like, this has to happen right now because you have yourself to take care of, you have other responsibilities to take care of. And I just love the power of a pause there because you're absolutely right, man. This is great advice. I'm always going to remember this because in these situations, just saying, tell me more. Okay, help me understand that better. I just love that. I love that all listeners like make notes. This is a good one. And then, yes, if you're even thinking that you're beating a dead horse, do yourself a favor, please. Let your feet do the talking, Martha, as you said. So go on out and find another place that will recognize your worth. And if you look at it from a place of abundance, this is the other piece, because a lot of times in these situations, it can impact your sense of self-worth after being like, man, I've beaten a dead horse. They don't see my worth. Maybe nobody else will. No, absolutely they will. This was just, if you believe in statistics and data, it was absolutely statistically insignificant. It was one person, one company. There are billions of them out there. So go seek that and you will find opportunities as well.